Hi there, I am Vinny Hall and I am making a tutorial today to show you how to swap meshes in Orcs Messiah 3. Now this tutorial is more based on OMD3, but because this is an Unreal Engine game, you can follow these steps for other Unreal games for the most part. In this case, for example, I swapped out the broadsword from OMD into the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts, and it works just alright here. Okay, so let's see how we make something like this. I'm going to close the game, and the very first thing we are going to do, this will be linked down in the description below, is come to Nexus Mods, and we are going to download, right here, manual download, the OMD3 modding template that I created. This is going to make it a lot easier for beginner modders, and it has everything you need to get going. Okay. This is part of the README file, so all this information is in the file once you download it. But first thing we're going to do is download your Unreal Pack, then you model, you asset editor, we need Blender, the Blender's export as FBX panel plugin, and we're going to need Unreal Engine. So let's get Unreal out of the way real quick. If you open up Epic, and I assume you're probably going to be here in the store at first, go ahead and hit Library on the left, Unreal Engine on the left. Click on the plus button up here, the drop down, up here, and find version 4.27.2. And once you find it, you're going to hit install. So you're going to let that go. We're going to launch Unreal. Okay, so that's done with. We'll open up Blender. Okay. With Blender, we're going to import the FBX panel. Okay. So we're going to open it up, come up here to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons. You're going to click on Install and find the add-on we downloaded. Now when you download the add-on, do not uncompress it. Leave it as a zip file. So you're just going to find the zip file, and then once you have it installed like that, just search FBX, and by default it'll be turned off. So just turn it on. Okay. There we go. And what you're going to do is download Unpack, UModel, UAsset Editor. Okay. Extract all of those files directly into your Unreal or your OMD directory. So it's a Steam file right here. So if we go to Steam Apps Common, going to OMD3, OMD, Content, Packs. Okay, so we're here. So download all three of these, open them up, and just grab all the folders, all the files, and just throw them right into this folder. So as you can see, I have UAsset Editor here. That's a different one you're not going to need. UModel is right here. Unreal Pack. So just grab everything and just throw them all in here. Okay. And now we can get started. Come in the Packs folder, and we are going to open up UModel_64. Okay. For this game, we need to hit the override button, click Unreal Engine 4, and then click 4.27. Now, most other Unreal games, once you get this far and hit OK, it's going to ask for a passkey. You can find passkeys for other games online. They're called AES keys. Just search for them. Luckily, this game does not require it. So once we choose these two settings, just hit OK. I'm going to minimize all these settings over here. Okay. We're going to click on OMD, Content, and in this case, we're going to make a weapon swap, right? Weapons, I want to swap out the Elven Blade. Once we find it, Swords Elven. So we're going to click the little drop down. Mesh. And now we have a couple items in here. We have Sword Elven PHY, so physics. Sword Elven SKL for skeleton. Sword Elven SKM. I don't know what that is, but if we double click on it, it is our mesh. Okay, so we have this up. What we're going to do is hit M on our keyboard. Makes it easier to see, and we can see the material that it uses as well. Okay. Now, if you need some help with some keyboard shortcuts, click on Help, Keyboard Shortcuts. Okay, so there's a lot in here. In this case, now that we have the sword, let's click on Tools and export the object. Okay, so real quick, we're going to come back to our packs folder. Oh yeah. When I click export, don't mess with any settings in here. Okay, don't change your directory, don't change whatever. Just click OK immediately. So in our packs folder, we now have a U model export folder. So if we open that up, go to Weapons, Swords Elven, Mesh, we have the actual model right here. Okay. Let's open it back up. And we are going to need, let's see, let's click on, so remember we hit M. Let's click right here. Okay. And so this is the material. Just click Tools and export this as well. Okay, we're probably gonna need it. And then to cycle back and forth, hold Alt on the keyboard, and you can push left and right and go back and forth. So it doesn't matter how deep you get, you could always go left and right. Okay. Actually, we are going to need to open up the instance. And over here on the left side, we'll see BC. That's going to be our color. So let's open that up. There it is. Let's export this as well. Hold Alt, push left, and then let's click on the NM for normal map. And export this as well. Okay. Now one thing we are going to want to do is come up to Matte for material. So this is the instance we just downloaded, but we also just click on the BC, hold Control, click on NM, come to Tools, and we're going to save selected packages, okay? So what do we have? If we go to our export folder, Weapons, Mesh, we have our object. If we come back and go up to Matte, we have the textures. We can open these in Photoshop, and they work just fine. Okay. And if we come back to our packs folder, let me see. Should I open up Photoshop right here for the next step? Okay, if we, let me click on that real quick. If we come up here to saved, my bad about that. As we go through, okay, we're still clicking. What we have right here are USF files. These type of files are what Unreal use. Okay, so these are the exact files that the game is reading. The game doesn't read JPEG files. It doesn't read FBX files. It reads USF files. And the JPEGs and the meshes, be it OBJs, FBX, PSK, they're all saved within these USF files. Okay. So we'll get to you which use case scenario you would for each of those. But now we need to get to editing. So let's open up Blender. Okay, when Blender opens, just click on the screen. Click on collection on the top right, just hit delete. Then click on camera, delete, cube, delete, light, delete. Okay. We're going to click on, well, first, we are going to click on export, weapons, Elven, mesh, and just copy this directory. Okay. Because we're going to open up this PSK file. So come up to Blender again. No. Click on File, Import, psk, search the directory, and let's open up this psk file. Okay, so I'm using my middle mouse, zooming in and out. If I hold the middle mouse click, I could rotate around the object. If I hold shift and middle mouse click, there we go, look at that. I could grab the scene. So with those couple keyboard mouse shortcuts, you can move around your object. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is File, Import FBX. Okay, so I have right here, I have a model that I made a couple years back. It's a Roadhog hook. It's Roadhog's weapon from the Overwatch series. So what I'm going to do is copy this directory, File, Import FBX. I'm going to import my FBX. Okay. Now the very first thing we are going to do is come back to our packs folder. Okay. I like to go to the content folder, so the one right before it, and I make a modding directory. Okay. So in here, as you can see, I have this template I made. It is right here. So I'm going to right click it, go to render, and just extract it. Okay. So all of my editing is going to happen in this folder. As you can see, we have a README file, which is the exact same README file that is up on the Nexus page. Okay. So everything is still the same. We have a z underscore name of your mod. So in this case, I'm just going to rename this just a Roadhog hook. Okay. And then we have our template. What I'm going to also do is make a assets folder and open that up. And this is where we're going to save everything. So I'm going to copy the directory. Bring, that's the wrong Blender. Here we go. Here, I'll bring Blender back up. And I haven't touched anything, right? I just imported the assets. File, save as, make sure we're in the right directory. And I just name it edit underscore 1. Okay. We don't want to mess with this one though, right? This one's clean. If we make any mistakes, we can come back to this. So I'm going to go save as, and just name it edit underscore 2. Okay. So now we can start editing. Okay. The very first thing I'm going to do in this case is merge all my mesh, because it looks like it's not all one mesh. In case you have to do this on your end, if you come to the right side, you see how I'm clicking my assets here? They're all different. If I select all of them by holding shift and clicking the top to bottom, I then hold Control J to merge. Eventually it will work. There we go. Okay, I need to select it all in the scene. Just merge it all together. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's what I needed. Okay. Normally when you're going to import an FBX, say you find a line, hopefully it's just one giant mesh like this. The first thing I like to do is click on the model, then hit Tab on my keyboard to go into edit mode. And top left, let me bring up OBS. There we go. Top left, I click on UV editing. And I like to make sure my textures are still working. So in this case, we can see there's UVs up here. If I hold left click and just highlight the item, it's all like not fully selected. So up here, you click on select mode to polygon, to faces. And on the top right, click on the X-ray button. So now I could collect or select all my mesh, and I see my textures are working. Okay, so everything works. We'll select X-ray, and we'll come back up to modeling mode in the top left. one thing we need to do right now is come to the right side and make this smaller. Because imagine a character trying to hold this weapon this large when their regular sword is this tiny, you know? So on the right side, we're going to click the object. It can be in object mode or edit mode with the tab button. Just grab the scale, and there should be a way to scale this all evenly. I'm not very sure how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to make it real small. 0.1, right? On the Y, so let's do this on the X and the Z as well. Okay. So it's a little tinier. That's what we wanted. Let's grab the Z on here on the right side and pull up a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. One thing to note is when we imported the sword model, we have this little dot here in the middle. That's where the characters grab, okay? So we need to position and scale our new weapon so that it fits right there. So when a character grabs it, it makes sense, right? So if I grab my weapon here, and if I just hold it like that, that means the character is going to be holding thin air while the weapon floats. We don't want that. So I'm going to position this in a way to where it makes sense. Yeah, and I think that's this is the cutting edge. So this would make sense to me, right? Okay. I'm just gonna save it again because, you know, why not? So if we come to the right side, I am going to click on the armature, or click on the original sword model. If I click down here on materials, we see it is called sword _ elven _ inst. Now if I click on my model, it's just called default. Okay, that's not what we want. I'm going to click on default, and here on the right side, click the minus button to delete it, or you can click the no, you just gotta do that, yeah, just the minus button. But what I want is my hook to be associated with the blade, right? So if I'm here on the blade, I'm going to click the new button to make a new material, and then I'm just going to change the material to the blade. See that? So now if I hit tab to go to edit mode and click select, see, so if I do sword elven instance, it selects all the mesh of the blade of my weapon. Now if I click on the elven blade and then hit tab, it does the same thing. So now they're associated with each other, right? That's the first thing we wanted. Now I'm going to come to my weapon. I'm going to click on this little wrench and make sure there's no modifiers here. So if there was a modifier, like an armature, click it and get rid of it. We don't want it. Okay. And the next one is if we select our new weapon and click on the object data properties, it's the green one. Normally it looks like this at first, but click on UV map, and the UV map is called texture. But if we do the sword, it's called UV _ single, all caps. That's what we want. Okay, so we're going to double click that and copy UV _ single. Now come to our new weapon, double click on the new weapon's UV and just paste in the new name. Okay, we want them to be the same. Here we go. Now what I like to do, I want to save again. Okay, let's why not? Just keep making saves. It's very smart. Okay, so we did everything we need. But now if we were to bring this into the game, we would have a weird sword / hook combo. And that's not what we're about, right? So I like to click on Elven Blade. I'm going to hit tab. And I'm just going to select a couple polygons that are not merging in with our hook, right? So I just select those. I'm going to hit H to hide. Okay, so those pieces are hidden. Going to X-ray, select the rest of the mesh, right click, delete faces. Okay, now let's get out of X-ray. Now hold Alt H to unhide items. Okay, so H hides, Alt H unhides. Hit tab again, come into object mode. I'm going to select the new model, then select the one we're going to merge it with. Okay, now hold Control, hit J. There we go. Now look, now we're all one model up here. See in the top right corner? We go from having the mesh model and the Elven model. So I'm going to select both again, hit Control J. Now we're all one. One big happy family. Look at that. So select back on the piece we let live, hit tab, go to X-ray. Now we're going to finish deleting it. So highlight, right click, delete face. Go out of X-ray, hit tab again, and we're mostly there now. Okay, so this new weapon has the same UV map. Because we merged it, it now has the modifier for the armature of Sword Elven SKM, and selected the armature. And we're using the same material. Okay, so I'm going to save. And now this is where some stuff can get complicated. Okay, so what we are going to do is our assets folder, we're going to save the model in here. Okay, but it is real important that we name the new model the exact same as the old model. Okay, so if I come back to my packs folder, remember this is where all the packs of games are. This is where we put U model, and we did the U model saved and export. We're going down to export, weapons, swords, mesh, or right click the name, Sword Elven Skim. Okay, so now we're going to copy the name. We're going to come back to Unreal or to Blender. We're going to hit File, Export FBX, and we're going to rename our new file the exact same as the old one. Okay. Here on the right side, you scroll down, click on Geometry, Smoothing, and set it to Face. Okay. And now I'm going to save this new file right in our assets folder. Okay. So make sure it's there. Hit Export. We are done with Blender. Okay. Now I like to keep Blender open the entire process because let's say we're into an instance where we open the game and the sword was rotated the wrong way, or the new weapon's rotated the wrong way, right? Well, then I could just come back to Blender, rotate it the way it needs to be, and export it again. Okay, so I just keep Blender open the whole time. Okay, now we need to open up Unreal. So we are on Unreal, we hit the launch button, and this is what we first get. I'm going to click on More, Browse. Okay, so we're still in the template you guys downloaded. Remember we renamed this folder to Roadhog Hook. Right above it is OMD3 underscore UE4 underscore template. So let's open that up, open again, and this is our Unreal project. It's OMD. So let's open that. So let's copy the directory. Let's come over to OMD or to Unreal. Okay, and here it is. Let's open the project. Okay, here in Unreal on the left side, first thing we're going to do is click this show or hide the source panel. Now we're going to see some familiar stuff in here. Okay, what I'm going to do is open up the Explorer, go back to the packs folder, and watch this. Weapons. Oh, there we go. Let's actually open this up right here. I have an example file structure in here for you guys to follow. In this case, it starts with content. That's the OMD directory right here. If I click on the little expand button, we see, okay, here it is. So we click on OMD and we have content, config, plugins. You see there's content, and over here in Unreal we also have content. Let me hit the drop down button. If I come down here, we have weapons. Over here, watch this, we have weapons as well, right? If I click on broadsword, which is over here, we then have matte and material, or yeah, matte and mesh. Look over here, matte and mesh. So it's real important that our Unreal directory matches that of what the real directory is in the game, right? So in this case, if we open up the export folder, weapons, sword, matte and mesh, we need to recreate this directory inside of Unreal. Okay, so we already have weapons. It's over here. See this? Weapons. If I open weapons, we now have swords _ Elven. So I'm going to copy that name. We'll come over here to weapons, right click, new folder, then paste the name. Okay, open it up. And then we need a matte folder and a mesh folder inside of this one. So it's right click, matte, and everything needs to be spelled the exact same, even in capitalization. Okay, so now we have matte and mesh. We'll open a mesh, and if we open the mesh directory we have, this is where our model is, right? So this is where we're going to drop the model we made. So I'm coming back to the modding directory I made, the template that you guys have. Open it up. The assets that we saved our edit in. I'm going to drag the model directly from my Explorer here into Unreal and drop it. Okay. Being that it's a weapon, I could just hit the import all button and we're good. Now, if you are making an edit to a character, let's say it's a hero character, okay? This will come up, just hit the exit button. Don't need it. But let's say you're editing a hero character. When that screen comes up, the middle option asks you for a skeleton. For the heroes, if you come up to characters, heroes, hero rig, this is the rig you're going to select. By default, what it wants to do is import another skeleton, and Unreal tries to use that other skeleton, but that's wrong. This is this one you're going to use if it's a hero character like Cygnus or Ignis or Igna, whatever, or Gabrielle. Okay, so that's just a little side note. Let's come back to the Elven sword, mesh. Okay, now what do we have? We have a skeleton. Don't need to worry about it. We have the physics. We have the skin file. So if I double click on it, that's our model. Okay, top left, we'll hit the little exit button. And right next to it, we have a material. But if we open up our packs folder, go to export, we're going to see we have a mesh folder and a material folder. That material is not in with the mesh, right? Or with the material. Or it's not in with the mesh, it's in the material folder, right? Actually, a better example is if we go to save, because remember I told you the saved folder is the one that Unreal looks at. So let's use this one as a better example. It's hard to do if I don't export the file itself. So if I go to material, the instance, I'm just gonna go down here and hit the save selected packages. Here we go. So in material, we see sword _ Elven _ inst. This is the wrong folder right here. So if I grab it, what I can do is put it into the material folder where it needs to go. There we go. Now what I want to do is hit Control S and just double click on the new map file that's up here. Just hit overwrite. Okay, now select all the items in here and just hit Control S to save them. Okay. There we go. It's imported now. Come up here to File, Cook Content for Windows, and we're going to wait. let it cook. It should be pretty fast. Okay. Let's come back to our packs folder. Content, our modding folder we made, the template you guys downloaded. Okay. So if we come over here to the template, OMD3, here we go. Remember, this is the project we opened, okay? Now we just cooked the assets. So the cooked content is, oh, and for references as well, the directory that's here in Unreal is also here in our folder structure. Okay, if you make changes to one, it messes with the other. So content, you see content over here. Then we have the weapons, we have the Elven one, we have the mesh. So this is where they're the same. Okay, but we just cooked. And what we're going to do is here. Let me come back to here. We're going to open. We're going to see saved, cooked, Windows, no editor, OMD, content, weapons, Elven sword. Okay. So this directory mimics it as well. Okay, but these items are ready to be used in game. So what I'm going to do is copy the swords Elven folder. Come back to packs, content. Sorry for the pause. Modding. My template. Let's come into the road hook. Hold a road hog hook. OMD. Content. Weapons. I'm going to paste the sword in here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the raw sword. We don't need it. Okay, so swords _ Elven. I open it up. We have the material and mesh folders. So these mimic the actual file structure that's inside of the game. Okay, so what we're first going to do is back up until we get to z _ mod name _ p. Okay, I'm going to copy this directory. Well, no, I don't need to. I'm going to open up a new Explorer. Let's go to our packs folder, and if we scroll down or up, depending on how you have it set up, we have Unreal Pack with compression. Grab the entire folder you have, the Z folder, drag it over the compression one, and this is going to happen real fast. It's already done. I'm going to hit spacebar. It's done. It's finished. I'm going to grab our mod that we just made. This is the .pak file, and drop it right into our packs folder. Okay. So now, if we launch the game, the Elven sword will be the Roadhog hook. So let's get this going real quick. I just hit the launch button. Let's wait for it to open up. Hit play. Old friends. First thing what you won't notice is the picture in here has changed. Okay, we haven't gone there yet. That's where I hit. Just play on a random level. And if we turn on the, where is it? The Elven short sword. Look at that. We're now rocking Roadhog's hook. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's close it. Okay. Now, here back in Unreal, if you are importing an item that you just care for the a one color on, right? Like if I want this entire weapon to just be red, if I double click on it, we see it's associated with sword _ Elven _ inst, right? So if I come back to my material folder, that's the material that we have. So we're gonna open it up, drag this window over, click on the color, come over here, click on the white color, and I'm just gonna make it red. Okay. Gonna hit save, close it. If I open up the weapon, it's now just red, okay? So if I wanted to stop right here and just make this a red weapon, I cook it, I move the files where they need to go, I use the Emerald compression thing, mod is done, okay? In this case though, I want my textures to be on it, okay? So what I'm going to do is delete the .pack folder we made, because the mod isn't finished, right? So I don't want it in this folder yet. If I come up to assets, here, I think it's, let me just copy these over. Okay. So here is my base color and normal map for the weapon, okay? Up until now, everything's been pretty easy. This is where it can get really stupid, though. When it comes to weapon swapping, it's easy, though. But when it comes to like other items, it can get stupid. Okay, so if I go to my mods folder, the Z folder, and go all the way through to weapons, you guys could delete the character folder in here. That's because we're not messing with characters. So if I come to the mesh folder, okay, we're going to see the skeleton, the physics files. You could delete all that. We just need the UAsset and .uexp files. Here in the packs folder, we're going to see UAsset editor, okay? So grab the UAsset file and just drag it on the UAsset editor. It's going to bring up some information about our model, okay? So what we can look right here is, it is saying that this is the Elven model. It's going to use this physics stuff that's located in this folder. Remember how we just, here, I hit Control Z. So remember how we deleted these? If I made modifications to these, then I need to keep these here for the mod to read them. If I delete them, then this game will read these file structures from the original files. So if you make edits, you have to leave everything you edited. If you didn't make edits, you can go ahead and delete it, because the game will know what to do anyway. It will still use the physics from the original area. So right up here on top, we see that it is going to use the stored Elven inst material that's located in the material folder. Okay, so there it is. It's going to use that. Problem is, let's say we dragged this UAsset file into the editor, right? There's only 38 lines of stuff in here, right? What I'm going to do now is come back here and show you an example of, let's go to the saved folder, OMD, content, weapons, material, and look at this. I'm going to copy the original inst files, right? So these are the original unedited ones. If I pull this into UAsset editor, look what happens. Here, so this is the original here on the right, and the new one on the left. The new one only had 38 lines, the original has 73. And the original points to other things like the colors or the normal maps or all this extra stuff, right? The one I have doesn't do any of that. So what I'm going to do is copy, here, let me delete those so we don't get confused. We'll go to saved, OMD, content, weapons, sword, material. I'm going to take the original inst files and then sorry about that. Okay, so I copied the original files. Come into my Z folder. I'm gonna paste the originals in, okay? So now essentially I'm having my custom model point towards the original files. But obviously my materials aren't on there yet, right? So what I also need to do is customize the original colors that are with the original sword. So if I come down to export, weapons, elven, material, I already exported these. We have sword elven BC, sword elven NM. Okay, so I'm going to open these both up in Photoshop. It is at this point where if I wanted to, I can change these models or the textures, right? So if I want to color these textures, I can do that. In this case though, my use case is changing these textures out from my textures. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let me think about this real quick. We're going to edit those with mine. So here are the normal. Here's the BC. I'm going to drop my base color here in the base color one. Okay. Let's open up this normal one and drop my normal map into that normal one. Okay. I then need to save my color one here. Sorry about that again. Okay, let me okay, let me start this part over. I'm sorry about that. Something came in the room. I had to deal with it. File, save as copy. Now we need the names obviously to be the same, right? So sword elven BC, and we are going to save this right here in our modding folder, modding template, assets. Just save it right here, okay? There, this is where all our assets are. Hit save. It's a 32 or a 24-bit. 32 if you're doing stuff with alpha maps, right? We're going to use that later. Okay, so we save that. We're going to save the normal map. Is this the right folder? Assets, yeah. Okay. Backspace, so it's sword underscore elven underscore nm. I'm going to save that. Open up Unreal. Now remember, those materials were in this mat folder. So we need to drop them directly in here. Select both. Control S. I'm going to open up the material. This is just for you to visually see right here. So you can test your models. I'm going to delete the that's in there. I'm going to grab the normal map, the BC, drag in here, grab the RGB of the colored map, put on base color, grab the RGB of the normal map and put it on normal. Hit save. Okay, come over to your mesh, open up the model, and we have our texture on it. Okay. We'll hit Control S to save our scene. File, cook. Okay, it is currently cooking. Here on the right side, I'm going to our template, RMD template, our saved cooked, editor, OMD, content, weapons, sword, material, and the new stuff we made. I don't need the INST, remember, because we've replaced those with the original. We don't need those. What we do need are the U asset, U bulk, U exp. I don't think we need the U bulk, but I know it works with it. Okay, let's just take all of them. So it's 3 files per texture. I'm gonna just copy those, and these are all going into our modding folder. Template, Roadhog hook, or Z, our Z folder. OMD, content, weapons, sword elven, material. Boom. So it's in there, yeah? So now the original INST files are going to point towards our modified ones. So if we were to drag this to our packs folder into our, let's find it real quick, the Unreal pack with the compression, if we were to drag our Z folder into it, that part of the mod's done, okay? We now have the weapon with textures. That's good. But the avatar in the weapon selection menu is still the original one because we haven't messed with that yet, right? So let's bring this program back up. Remember, this is UModel 64. And if you're like stuck in this menu, remember you hit File, Open Package, and it brings this one back up. So what I want to do is come back to Sword Elven, click on UI, and we have this icon file right here. So if you open that up, that's what we need to edit. Okay. So I'm going to do Tools and export it. Okay. It's exported. Let's go more to Export, Weapon, Sword. Now we have a new folder for the UI. Okay. So let's come back over to Photoshop. I'm going to just open this straight up. Okay, that's what we need to change. Okay. Okay, let's find our... this is all my art I made. Here is my hook. Give me 1 second. Okay. So here's the pictures that we have of it. I'm going to take a screenshot directly from my 3D viewer here. Okay. So there's the, I'm going to put it over there so it's a little easier to cut out. I'm just going to use the sipping tool. Quick screenshot, Control C, come back to Photoshop, Control V, Control T, grab this, I want to rotate it so it looks kind of like the original. There we go. Let's go to, let's see if this will work. If I hit settings and then subject select. That did not work. Okay. So I just want to get rid of all of this extra crap that doesn't need to be in the picture. Actually, it would be really nice if I could have taken a screenshot. Without this background. I don't think so. Okay. So we're going to take this off. Just do that. Okay, we're going to do it the quick way. Okay, E, and I'm just going to hopefully you're back. We now have our weapon cut out. So what I'm going to do is hold control and left click the item. Come down here or come to channels on the right side. Let me delete the original alpha that was there. Okay, so we come in here, we're selected, click the little button down here, and now we have our alpha made. Okay, and ooh, we can see it was not the best. Cut out. Let's see. There we go. Let's delete the rest of this. Yeah, these were pieces I missed. Again, this is gonna be so tiny though. You're probably not going to even see these parts. Like that part's messed up there. I mean, you can make it as clean as you want, but no one's gonna notice, you know? Okay, there we go. Let me delete that background again. Go channel, I want to hold control, left click, channel, add the mask, come to the layers. Okay, I'm gonna hit file, save as copy, and again, we're gonna put it right into our asset folder. Content or model folder we made, template you're using, assets. The name needs to be the exact same. We're gonna hit save. Maybe it does. Okay, maybe it is 24. It's not 32. Okay. And now that we're in our assets folder, we need to make a UI folder in Unreal. Come back to Unreal, so it's right in here, a UI folder, and this is where we are going to drop our new asset. Icon, there we go. Just drop it in there, click it, Control S. Now let's cook this as well. That's currently cooking. Let's go to template, OMD3, saved, cooked, no editor, OMD, content, weapons, element sword. Now we have UI. Okay, so let's copy our UI folder. Let's go back a while to our Z folder. Let's make our way through here. Weapons, element sword. Let's drop it right in there. And that should be it. Let's go to our packs folder. Roadhog hook. I'm going to drop it in here. Let's pull our mod right in here. Let's open the game up. Let's hit play. Friends, and now if I open this menu up and go to weapons, you're gonna see. Okay, it's supposed to be a 32. Okay, so let's pretend we saved it as a 32. Let's pretend we already did that, right? We have our weapon. We're gonna hit play. Boom. We now have our custom weapon here inside of OMD. And again, once you save as 32-bit, the bottom left corner where you can see the image, it won't be like that, okay? Now let's test it against some baddies. So yeah, all the other moves work. So yeah, I hope this helps you figure out how to do this. Remember stat.pak file after you use the compression tool that makes this work. So I hope you have a good day and happy